Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Welcome, guys. We're excited to have you on Inside Scoop. And insiders, thank you so much for joining us each and every week. And Alex and I both love seeing you guys this weekend. And for everyone to come up and telling us how much they love the show, asking for pictures with us because they love the show, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So thanks, guys.
Right.
We really appreciate it.
That was kind of a trip, too, because I fully embraced. It was a little bit different for me, Jeff, than it was for you, because you were still competing, and competed. You did a lot, by the way. Like, I was definitely not. So I'm like, it was different for me because I'm totally removed from competing now. Although there was a few moments from the weekend that tempted me. And it was not without people and we're like, hey, man, you can jump back in. This division's right here. And I'm like, all right, it's not happening. Right. But it was weird. People coming up being like,
thanks, Ryan.
Yo, Inside Scoop is dope. Because in a normal tournament, people would like other people wouldn't come up to me like that because like what kind of competitors were like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And then we wait till Saturday night.
Right.
But this is different. So it was cool. I'm embracing this chapter of martial arts life. You have not yet.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I enjoy all of it, man. I'm still if you can tell my voice, I'm still recovering.
I get it.
I'm
like
exhausted.
I project what I judge. I want to make sure that I'm projecting. And by Saturday afternoon, man, I sounded like, a 60-year-old smoker from New Jersey.
Right.
So I'm telling you. So I can just imagine. And I didn't have one Kia. So
right.
I can just imagine. And I remember, how you go through those times when you're learning how to use your volume and voice, but not destroy your vocal cords. And it was like weird because it was like at a teenager where like now I'm like starting to grow, and I remember being like 15 and like my friends at school could tell when I had a tournament like the day before or that weekend because I couldn't talk.
Right.
And it was like, oh, you did that karate thing again, didn't you? You did that karate thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can tell because you can't talk. So yeah, I like that. But you know what, man? One of the coolest things from this weekend, Jeff, was the draft that we did.
Yeah.
And I didn't know like how well it was going to be received by everybody. Like I really thought that we thought it was going to be cool, but like all the competitors were going to be like, yeah, whatever. You drafted some guy, whatever.
Yeah.
We weren't just drafting. We were drafting. We were dropping. We were picking up. And I promise you, nobody made more moves.
What's up, Chris?
Nobody made more, and I couldn't have
you got the
lost
less amount of points. Yeah.
I couldn't have lost by more points. I mean, like I was so all over the place. Like I'm dropping somewhat because I thought I turned out what I thought was fairly well because Peyton Fender was my female fighter, and not only did she win a division, like she was in the team fighting. She was in the team fighting final, and here I like wasn't paying attention, thought she didn't show up. So I'm like dropping someone to pick somebody up. It was so weird, man. I tell you, it was cool.
All right, so we're gonna get in all that. First, we got to take care of some business. So, we're sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour, as you guys can see. Ladies' Night, February 26, 2022. They just announced two new fights. So I know both are from the North Carolina area, very close to and dear to my heart. Brianna Tuitt, who was on Team Heartland South with myself, and someone that I've seen grow up. She won the girls team fighting at the AKAs this past weekend and was second place runner up in her fighting division to her teammate who she team fought with. So big weekend for her. She is going against girl from McKinley's, I believe. I don't have it right now. If you can, let's see.
Sabrina,
If
Sabrine,
yes,
Sabia Sabrine.
Sabiha Sabrine. Yes,
Yeah.
Sabrine. We saw her, I think, on the very first one or the second virtual fight tour. Maybe it's the second virtual fight tour. She fought Emma, I believe.
Emma Kilcullen, that's right.
Yep. And so this is going to be a great fight from two great programs. Brianna trains a lot. She's from Hickory Academy in North Carolina, under Josh Page and Chris Ursinola, but she also trains a lot with Sean Elliott as well. So, and the first one we have is Tahirah Abdul Kadir versus Autumn Bloomer. That one was announced last week, right? And then, what was this? Oh, yeah. All right. And then there's another one. Wow. All right. Then we have Miranda DePierne versus Emma Cullingham. So this is Emma that we saw from Next Level, right?
Yeah.
And Miranda, I'm not sure where Miranda's from. And then we have Serafina Fish from K-Talk from North Carolina, who trains with Sean Elliott as well, versus Kiana Bonilla from Texas, I believe, who's, I think, from Gypsy, I believe. So those are 4 great fights that are already announced, all around that teenager or freshly into the adult age. So going to be a great start to this ladies' night show. So I'm super excited. Guys, y'all can go ahead and get your tickets for that. And but before that, we got the Censor Sports event. So
the Grand
Strike
Prix.
League Grand Prix. Go ahead.
No, the Grand Prix, it's going to be awesome because it's not just a tournament. It's a 3-round tournament. So each match is 3 rounds, and it's a wild event.
Best out of 3.
3 rounds per match.
Alex, best out of 3. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Best out of 3. Could be 3 rounds. We don't know. Right. It's got to be best out of 3. You can win the first 2 matchups, and then your round is over. Yep. But I'm really interested in that format. Not to mention that it's what it's called, Censor Sports. So we're going to really see the debut of what it looks like seeing. I think Carlos said it best on CTE this week. Laser tag karate, right?
Yeah.
it is, right? Just like you zap someone a laser tag and boom, their chest lights up or whatever it may be. Apparently, it's supposed to be something similar to that when we're fighting. And so often, a guy say like, just barely touched me. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Like, is it going to be a brush? Does there need to be a decent amount of force? I don't know. How are they calibrated? How are they calibrated? We're going to find out next week all those details because we're going to have Chad Cannon and Carmichael Simon on next week to tell us all about that. So if you're curious as well, stay tuned. They're coming in next week. We're going to have all those questions answered.
Awesome. So thank you to both those sponsors, and get ready for both of those great events, guys. All right. So as we were telling, we had a great weekend at AKAs. We have so much to get into. One thing, though, I do want to, as you were talking about the voice thing, one that was really impressive to me was, and I don't know how she does it, but Gabrielle Dunn competes all weekend and then goes up and sings the Star Spangled Banner, and you can't really tell her voice. You know what I mean? It's like crazy, right?
I saw that. I was like, wow, before I knew she could sing, because I didn't know that, right? I remember thinking to myself, I was like, she's kind of multi-talented. She does a lot of things. She's kind of doing here. She's doing that. She's kind of, semi the face of what Century's doing. Like she's a face of what Century's doing. There's a lot of them that they're doing. I like what they're doing with Avery and Morgan. I like their ads. Those ads are cool. But
those are.
When you see those little videos where Gabrielle's popping up, I'm like, wow, she's really multi-talented. And then she goes up and sings the damn Star Spangled Banner. And I'm like, yeah. How the heck can she how do those pipes work both these directions? This is cool. All right, congratulations,
and guys,
Gabrielle.
If you listen to Fist Kicks and Flicks today, they had an awesome show out about the real Miyagi, but it also featured our good buddy Charlie Braden Hunter on there. And he's actually a music major and voice major. So martial arts and music, man, it's really cool.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Look at
So
my
make
guy,
sure you
my
check
guy
that
Kevin.
out. It's an awesome show because he's actually underneath the Fumio Demura. He's a Fumio Demura black belt. He's under that system. So
Spoiler
really
alert,
cool.
Fumio Demura is Miyagi.
Right. Oh man.
Oh, thanks, Genie.
All right. So where do we want to start, man? There's so much.
I'm going to tell you exactly where I'm going to start because I'm going to piggyback off of what we were just talking about with the virtual fight tour. So I got a chance to, and I'll show you how that goes full circle. So I judged almost all freaking day on Saturday, and I judged on Friday as well, not all day. But all I wanted to do, the reason I volunteered to judge at all, and I wanted to control what I judged, was because I wanted to make sure I was not going to miss any of the men's team fighting. I kind of wanted to do the open weight as well, but I was like, I got guys in here that I'm going to want to coach. That's going to look funny. I'm out, right? Yeah. And it did, like, it wasn't like, oh, well, we got a lesser guy. You know, Dwan Brown took my spot.
Yeah.
Pretty high quality guy, right? Yeah. So cool to hang out with Dwan and everybody else, man. That's what's so great about karate tournaments. Anyway, so when I stepped out from judging, right, after I judged men's team fighting, all right, I stepped out. Then Daddy Presley asked me if I would judge, if I would be the center for these teenage girls open weight. So I said, okay, I got you. I'll do it. Let me tell you this. All right. You could say some certain things, right? It was at this point of the day where I'm starting to realize, like, oh, people can trash talk you. Like, I didn't, like, Cam was stuffing Luis with sidekicks from Team Diamond. I mean, he was drilling him. But I'm seeing Luis's hand get there before he stuffs him. Cam clearly stuffs him, and he's pissed. But I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing his hand get there first. Yes, you stuff him, but I gotta do the right thing. So he looks at me afterwards and he goes, "Dingman, you effing suck." I'm giggling, but I'm like, all right, what am I gonna say about that? Whatever, you know. Now let's fast forward to this division I'm talking about. So we're there. And it's the only story I'm really going to tell, right? Because I was asked by multiple people to tell this interaction, this story. So I'm going to get off with that so I don't forget it. So in the match, so many things are happening. This one interaction, there's this girl, she's clearly sucking wind, right? But I'm like, go. Like, so she flips her thumb out of her glove, right? And I'm looking at her like, did you just really do that? Right. And then she's calling time. All right. And I didn't acknowledge it at first because I know what she just did. Right. I wanted to see what she would do. So she kept going like this, calling time. So I go, all right, stop. Right. I say stop. Her opponent bum rushes her.
Oh, God.
It's clearly after stop.
Yeah.
Now the girl calling time just destroys that girl with a sidekick. Right. Hand claps to you for, keeping your defenses with you. Now that same girl is pissed off that I won't give her points for the sidekick. And I'm like, you said stop. You said, she goes, but I hit her. And now I'm pissed, right? And I'm like, if you're calling timeout and I say stop for you, what the heck do you want me to do? You're lucky I don't give you a warning for faulty equipment. So no points. You're welcome. Go. It was so maddening, so crazy maddening.
Yeah.
Jeff, there was only one interaction. I had like 4 of them in that division.
And just in that alone.
That division, by the way, that was very exciting. All right. So there was only 2. I think there was only 2 spreads in that division. Like, it was all really close, right? From first round to final. It was really good. So there was another one where the ref gets up and he's pissed off because his fighter is not faking. She's just charging.
The ref or the coach? You mean the coach? You mean the coach? You mean the coach?
The coach is pissed
Okay.
because
Yeah.
the fighter is just bum rushing. It's not even really bum. She's just moving, right?
Yeah.
So she's getting stuffed with a side kick. But after she gets hit, she's continuing her motion forward, right? And he's like, oh, it's a chamber. I'm like, it's not a chamber. It's a half extended kick, right? So this is after the match. So after the match is over, and I'll continue with the rest of the show. So afterwards, he goes, if it's not fully extended, it's not a kick. I'll go, oh, yeah? Yeah? What about the half extended defensive punch that I give your fighter? Should I not give her that? And he goes, no, a punch is fine. And I go, oh, so where's your double standard? The punch is okay if it's half extended, but the kick is not. And the kick is the harder technique to do. You lose. You're welcome. Get out of here. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, man.
I couldn't believe it. And it was like, I didn't care. I don't really care. But they kept coming at me. Right. So like, you guys must not have listened to too many episodes of Inside Scoop, because it's like, what did you expect me to say? Did you expect me to go, oh, gee, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, right? Whatever. So it was very. I'm telling you, if anybody's got video of that, I might just want to sit down with some popcorn and watch it. It was. Oh man, it was like that. But it was actually, it was pretty cool all around. Alex should be in charge of training officials. You know what? That would be funny.
Oh, God.
I don't think I should be, though. I do think Abeda Ben Wali should probably be the head of that, because he did a fantastic job centering men's team fights. So it's a very highly contested division. Like he said to me, he said, hey, let's rotate centers. And I said, no, how about you just center all the time?
Yeah.
And he's like, why? What's wrong? And I said, Obeda, trust me. I just feel like with the division of this magnitude, I just feel like I haven't had as many reps recently as you, and I have full confidence in my abilities. I want to give these fighters the fairest chance possible. I feel like you should do that. He's like, all right, got it. You said it twice. I got it. So, that's me. I didn't judge any forms divisions, and I was really glad they didn't put me in that position.
Right.
Because I full transparency.
Yeah, they almost did.
I almost
did. You switched out. Yeah. Almost did Saturday morning. But yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like that was the best thing. I don't know how that other judge did, but I said, you know what? I just feel like it would be fair if they had somebody who's had more reps recently. And I feel like I'm pretty good. Yeah. But it doesn't matter if you've done it for a million years. If you're out of touch, you can really screw some people over, right? So what are you gonna do? What's Kayla saying? Good on you for being honest with your abilities. Yeah, and I don't have, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Mike's saying I pissed people off the whole weekend. That's a good ability I have.
That's every weekend.
I have the ability to do that
every weekend. So I know you have a whole list.
We're not going to get everything on the list.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm going to go ahead and do what I kind of teased today, was just a small little thing that I put up before. I usually put up something just about the show that we're going to do. And it kind of just blew up within the next few hours of just everyone making comments and even a little bit of some arguments, which is kind of funny. But about just informs, I feel like it needs to be now with 3 judges, 1 in the center, 1 on the corner, 1 on the other corner, you know. What are those other judges called, Alex? What's their actual title? Corner refs, right? So it's in the title. It's called a corner judge. So pretty obvious, right? Kind of funny. Wow. It's like,
and you know what? It really needs to be. If you think about the way like WKF Kata is reffed, they're not only on the corners, they're on the opposite ends. They're literally making a triangle.
Right. So I know that for most of the time, and I don't know if this has changed, but for a traditional challenge, it was always the 2 in the back, 1 in the front. I think for 5, having 4 in the corners and 1 in the front is really good. For 3, I kind of think that it should be the front corners, because then you can still have a good view of the side and you can see their back foot and you can see what's going on from there. But I still feel like, the argument about this was if that should be happening for open forms as well. And for me,
Yes.
I think it is, because this is what I saw several times. And the same competitor won a division. And I love this competitor. He's a great guy. Got to hang out with him some this week. But Alex Macias caught it on the blade. All right. Now, he covered it because he caught it and spun away from the judge. And so really none of the judges in the front saw it, right? Now, if you had it from because I was actually standing on the corner, I saw it because I was on the corner where the judge would have been. So, I just think there's things like that, right? Not on both, I'm sorry, but just on that one division. There's that, there's some different bobbles that I feel like some people because they were just up front. Also, you got to remember too, they're looking up on the stage. Most of the adult black belt divisions are on the stage. So, is that always the best view either? You know what I mean?
No.
Not really. I mean, you think it would be because you get to see their feet and stuff.
Well,
but,
you know what though, Jeff? It is we. All right. We format our forms because we know the judges are all going to be sitting up front in that panel.
Yeah.
That's why, for the most part, you see the only thing CMX people do going towards the back is the flash kick or the skip front, jump front.
But it didn't used to be that
why
way.
would you do any kind of big move towards the back if nobody's there to see it?
Correct. And so the whole point that creative forms are done that way because they're created. No, they're done that way because that's where the judges are.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you change it, then guess what? You get a more well-rounded form that you would probably want to change the angles of your stuff. So all that does is make the forms get better, which is what we should be trying to do with our sport, not keep it the way it is just because it's always been that way. So it's kind of funny to me. I joke a little bit with Tim about it because him and I are good friends, but he doesn't agree with me. But then some other guys can say, "Oh no, I don't agree." I just find it funny when the young people always tell you guys are stuck in the past, when really the young ones are the ones arguing to keep it the way it is. That makes me laugh, just hilariously. But I digress. So
I also
Go ahead. Are we going to be on that same one or?
Well, I'm going to move off of it after this. If you're
yes,
okay.
But again, I know Miss Rudolph talked about it many times on her Facebook page as well. It's just about the judges talking and things like that. That this just helps all of it. Not only where you can see, but also makes it better. So,
well, we talked about the CMX forms, but also, like, I'm a TKD guy. You're a TKD guy. What's the most popular TKD form?
Gay back.
When you do it forward and back like it's supposed to be done, you can't see none of it. That's why I was always a fan. Everybody kind of hates it, but I was always a fan of having it go sideways.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why? Let's have me go sideways. Stretch that round kick out. Stretch that side kick out. You can see it. Look this is what I do well. Look at how great I do it. Whereas
if you kick high enough, people can see your kicks. So
I know. Listen, I knew. Of course, I was talking. Who am I talking to? Of course, you're going to say that. But you see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
But I would be a fan. I would be a proponent to keep it forward and back. If now we're splitting the refs,
and especially for traditional, it should be that way, anyways.
Right.
Especially for traditional. Now, I think just the argument. Yeah, I think the argument has just been if it should be open, but in Europe, it's done that way. So, as well. Go ahead.
There's a number of other things that happened that I was really interested in. Some of them, let's just kind of like rapid fire through them. Yeah. I thought it was crazy the injuries that happened.
Yes, in forms
to Salif and Noel, because Salif is it pays attention because like, all right, it's the hot junior going up to the adults. All right, let's see what you really got. You could tell immediately he was going to win the division.
Yeah,
he was going to win it.
Yeah,
right.
It was just
he's going, and you're like,
amazing.
Oh shit, you're going to win the whole dang thing, right? Yeah. And he was cool. He was creative. He was off the wall, and then pow, broke his damn foot.
I guess. I'm not sure what happened. So I haven't heard yet. I know Monday, they're supposed to go get it checked out. His dad said he was walking on it the next day, but he does it a lot. But he probably has some type of hairline fracture or something.
If he does it a lot, that guy's not going to walk well in a year and a half.
I know.
Let alone 5 years. And
It's
then
crazy.
Noelle Jellison like wrecked her ankle as well. So those are two like, you got to be kidding me type of guys that you thought, all right, they might win Warrior Cups, right? And so that was a bummer. But I think another one along those lines was there was a lot of drops in weapons divisions. A lot of them. It was
but that's normal. But that happens a lot.
It is.
But
this was I kind of felt like this was a bit much.
I feel like the injuries, the drops, all happen because the forms they're trying to put every freaking thing they know how to do in their form. Some of that comes because the level's so high, right? So, I mean, and it is right now. It's crazy. But the person who's nailing the best form and being consistent most of the times wins. So I feel like, especially you see it with the comma forms, and some of it may be because, like someone said, maybe they're at a disadvantage because the tricks don't seem as big, but they have to do more releases than, say, a bow many times. So I just feel like sometimes they can finish the form like it's done. You don't need to do it anymore, right? The other thing is, same thing with Salif. I feel like if Salif would have ended that form maybe 5 moves before, he would have won anyway, because that was more than first half. Or if he would have just done
it was more than first half. I still felt like he had a decent amount to go.
I don't know, dude. I just
said he probably could have ended it.
What I saw was just amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he would have ended it there, done.
Yeah,
winner, Warrior Cup. Here you go. Take the money. It was like that.
Yeah, but as well. I think the same thing like Kaylin's saying. There's a lot of expectation. It's the first term of the year. You're coming back from pandemic, so that happens usually that first event of the season. But I do, and the mats were slippery.
They were
definitely slippery.
Shoes on the mats, feeling like, damn, these things are slick.
Right.
And speaking of, expected and Kaylin, I did not expect the amount of crazy contacts that Kaylin was going to come to me.
Yeah.
I met her mom and I went up to her. I was like, hey, I just met your mom. And she turns around and I was like, oh, you're the dang. What in the world is on your face? It's intense. Yeah, it's intense. I know that's her thing. But I was like, wow, go get it, girl.
Yeah. I talked to her about that. It's funny.
Yeah.
We'll have to get her on soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Super entertaining. Super. All right, I got some other things I want to go through. There's some stuff. I kid you not. There's probably 40 topics that I written.
Yeah,
down.
I know. I sat there and read all of them with you, and I have them as well.
Some of them I think are just funny, right? But
just run through some of them. We'll like pick some, or maybe we'll see what the audience wants to.
But
dive into.
You know what? Maybe it's not a bad idea. There is some things I do want to talk about, though. It was. Hang on.
All right.
Here's one thing I have. I've always kind of thought about this, and it came up this another time, but I know my ADDness will forget, so I want to. So I judged the women's 2 lightweight divisions and the light heavyweight men and the heavyweight men, and then all those grants, right? And I was the center for that. So as I'm watching that, it came down for the heavyweight grand, Cam Dawson versus Ryan George. Ryan George, light heavyweight, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big increase.
That's dangerous for the people in the light heavyweight division, right?
Yeah.
And then the heavyweight overall came down to Devin Hopper, Cam Dawson. So the two most like you got to be kidding me, were to this point in the tournament. Silence because they're both Dojo.
Yeah.
TDE. What is the name? What is
Yeah.
it? TDE?
TDE. It's
Taco Dojo
Team.
because it's
No,
Taco
it's
Bell.
Team Dojo Elite is what TDE stands for.
I'm gonna call him Taco Dojo. All right.
All right. Whatever.
So, and
Elite.
I feel like I was kind of think this is interesting. I was like, you know what? Why can't they just have it? We're like, hey guys, yeah, we're on the same team. I want to beat you. Let's have some fun, right? That's the reason we're here, is to have fun. Cam, you go get your guy. All right. As Ryan George, he might say, I'm going to get my guy. Devin Hopper will say, yeah, I'm going to get my guy. In the end, we're still going to hug it out, but let's have fun. Let's really bring the whole intensity of this thing up. Let's have fun with this thing. I think that would be cool. Why can't teammates have their own coaches? They think they
their own coaches. All right. I didn't know
Yeah,
where you
because
were going.
when they don't, literally
Yeah.
the crowd just goes to silence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are we really doing this? We're really doing this.
Yeah.
It's silence now. It's very anticlimactic, right? So
I get you.
I don't know. But a big major takeaway, and we've been mentioning this. This is the thing. Front hand to the body.
It was counted, right?
Depends
Sometimes.
Depends
Depends where you were. All right.
If it was landed, I called it. However, I feel like guys were afraid to throw it.
Right.
Because I watched some of the open weight divisions where they didn't call it. Like guys would just straight up pow, they would throw it, jab, back fist, whatever it may be, offensively even, right? Nothing. Not even stop. So I'm like, so what is this? So and sometimes guys were calling it, and then sometimes they weren't. So I feel like overall, maybe they would have done it more, but guys were afraid of it. I'm not so afraid that it's going to turn into Europe. And here's why. Because I'll tell you this now. If they would employ the front hand of the body the way Europe does, I could come back today. I could come back today.
Right.
And not even feel, I'd be fine. Because everybody's right when they say, listen, it makes the lesser skill fighter, all right, have a level playing field. Absolutely correct. All right. There's a guy we've mentioned, I'll say his name, all right, because nobody else will. There's a guy, Chris Aston, out of England.
England.
He's good stuff. He's got good defense. He's not good. He's not skilled offensively. He's not. All right. He's got a body punch. It's okay. All right.
But that front hand.
But he could kick anywhere, anyhow, any place. All right. But that front hand, all right, the way he just sneaks that thing in, right? He's one of the best in the world, right? At that. But that's the thing. Guys gotta go home knowing I just did that. And I feel like in the States, everybody around, and no one would let that person who won the division or definitely anything past that, like feel like they were anything. I feel like if a guy won like a weight grand or something like that, everybody around would have been telling them that they're just a piece of crap, for trying that. I just don't think guys are going to employ it the same way, because in the end, we want to win. This is a fun activity for us. So if it's not fun for us, we won't do it. So when you're there and you're doing that and guys are just tearing you to shreds, that's not fun, right? So I don't think guys will do it the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
I say call the thing.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a rule, you got to call it.
Call it.
You got to call it. Yep. Man, Friday was awesome. I mean, it was a long day. I felt, I know for me, waited a while to compete. One thing I'm going to say, and I think overall I like the man action thing. The one thing I didn't like, though, was I believe, though, I finally figured out what probably was the issue, was that the email I got that said I was going to compete at 4:15 was probably Eastern time, and we were competing
in Central.
So that's what I'm thinking might have been the issue. why a lot of us were like, it told us we were going to be within the next hour, and there was never really an update on the time. There was an update though on like if the ring changed and stuff. So I appreciate that. I love that. But I believe that might have been the issue, was that because most of my stuff said it was going to be this, and it usually ended up being an hour earlier than what it was. And so just kind of putting everything together, maybe that's what the issue was. It sent all of us the times in Eastern time, I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but that definitely but okay, maybe it did. Maybe put time zones in emails. Okay. Oh, you mean put that. All right. But yeah, it was just weird, especially since we're in there, on that part. But yeah, I'm not sure why it was done that way, but that was confusing to me on that part. But overall, I like the system. I like the way that it looks, the shuffle. It was real easy to use. So overall, I think they do a good thing with that. The production for the event, as always, is great. Okay, that's what it was there, Kathy. All right, she said that the Chromebooks couldn't be reset to Central Time. All right, that makes sense. And I just guess I wish that maybe it was announced over the speaker, but it wasn't. But
I see this in the comments, and before it gets too far, I want to bring it up. So Joey just mentioned that the front hand to the body it's situational. It's not.
Right.
If it's a legal technique, it's a legal technique. Just like a body punch.
Right.
If it's legal, it's legal. It's not like, I like the body punch, but I didn't really like it.
Right.
Listen,
it shouldn't necessarily, yeah.
If he hit it, he hit it. I don't like the move to be in, right? But it's in. What am I going to do about it? Nothing I can do, right?
Right.
It's a move.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that, because you can't say, it's situational. Because then you can say the same thing with like front hand of the head, like, he just kind of stuck his arm out.
I think what he means is it's not meaning, like what he's trying to say is that if he felt like it scored, yeah.
If it hit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it still has to hit first. It has to be clean.
If it hit, it recoiled, and the other person didn't do anything.
Right.
It's a score.
Right.
All right. So I got some others. So there was I got to give props to the 40+ fighters, men.
Yeah, right? Man.
Oh my goodness. Was I ref? I was reffing. I was reffing the 30+ fighters. I was watching it for a little bit, and then one of the corner refs had to leave, and Obeda was like, "Dingman, step in." And I'm like, "For real?" And he's like, and he looked at me like this. He goes, "We need you, man." And I was like, "Oh, I got you." All right. So I stepped in.
You did 30+ and then did 40?
So that was in 30. All right. So I'm watching the 30 thinking like, maybe I come back. Maybe I come back and do this fighting thing. I went to the 40 and I was like, nope, never mind. Nope. Nope. I'm out. Forget about it. The 40s, the guys in the 40s, first of all, it was deep. Second of all, holy crap. They were amazing. All right. Hakeem Walker is ageless. Right.
Yeah.
All right. He's like a time traveler.
Who's the guy that won that though? From Legend?
Robert.
Yeah. No, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, Robert won heavy.
Yeah.
The guy that won light though. No, the other one.
Oh, he didn't win the 30.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 40. Okay, the 40+ division. The lightweight division had I believe Hakeem was in that one, and then the heavyweight was the one that Robert was in.
Correct.
And Edgar was in that lighter one, I believe. There was there was like 12 people in that division. So
yes. And
it was really good.
I'm trying to remember. I
thought he was from Legend though.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think the match with Edgar and Hakeem was freaking amazing. Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that like, you got to be kidding me. Right. So
I know there's a point people keep wanting to bring up is about the music. I don't know too much about it.
Which music?
Well, there was the part that Haley's music kind of cut out, or they actually I think did the wrong music.
Oh.
And then I know Sylvia here is talking about Bella's music for her traditional weapons. He just stopped while she was halfway done, and then apparently like Mike was already calling for scores and stuff while she was still trying to fix the issue. So there's a lot of issues with that, with the music issue. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's something. Did you notice that in the finals?
Jeff, I got something about music I want to talk about.
All right.
And this is not it. So the answer to your question, no, I did not pick up on that.
Right.
I will lean into what I want to talk about whenever you give me the green light.
Yeah. Caitlin just says trying to get the song sorted out was a pain. Checking in for the night show was even worse. They waited 45 minutes to do a 10-second check-in for the music. And I get that. And,
that's weird.
And listen, the first time anything new like this starts, it's going to be kind of rough, And
it was
so I say give them a little bit on that one. This is what Isabella's mom said. Bella's music for a traditional weapon stops. She wasn't half done with traditional weapons. And Mike Chat was already calling Cody for scores, and she went for her forms. Her hand was up for 45 seconds. I guess she was.
Listen, there's so much that was just said in there that I want to talk about. So much. And I'm going to address it in order of what she just said. Okay. What did she say first? The music for traditional weapons.
Yeah.
Listen to those words. Listen to that. Right? Because it's not just that Cody. This is not.
It's not just Isabella. There's a lot to do it. Yeah.
Because it was freaking everyone. I want someone to just sit back and think about this statement. Music, traditional form. Say that to yourself again. Musical, traditional form.
As soon as you put music to it,
hot, cold water.
It becomes, it becomes not traditional, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
There should be no such thing. All right. Musical, traditional form. What the hell are you talking about? It's not traditional the moment you do that. You want to do traditional form. I don't know, because that's your highlight, or you want to be able to compete against the CMX, but you won't do CMX. So you want to do this, but you still want the allure of the music. Do a damn traditional form and be done with it. You're not doing musical form. If you're doing musical form, you're not traditional. I don't know what to tell you. You don't like it. Listen, it's just what it is.
You're going to piss so many parents off. I love it.
I don't care.
No, I mean, listen, where I'm just not a fan of it. Doesn't mean I don't like the people or I don't think they're good.
No, that has nothing to do with the people.
I feel like with a traditional form, the point of it is to show your power and preciseness and the snap. So when you add music to it, you don't hear that. It's also like where I don't understand. Yeah,
you and I were having this conversation this weekend. We were having this conversation, and I think we were watching Hunter Orlowski's form. Who, damn, that kid is good.
Yeah, he did like
watched his form,
triple full,
right? And we're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I agree, Tim.
And then when he would have finishing points, it just kind of lost luster. I was like, oh man, this is a point for you to make a statement. But the tricks are out of this world, like nothing you've ever seen. All right. Mm-hmm. The choreography was phenomenal. And then just the volume, I didn't hear anything. I'm standing right by the stage. I hear nothing. Right.
Yeah.
I get no body language. And I'm like, oh man, it's just missing it. And you and I had this conversation dude, you need to time travel back to the late 90s or something and do just see what some of these guys do. Right.
Well, and then I did my.
And I'm not disappointed in them, but let's get away at least from the musical.
What's up, Murphy? It was nice to see you, man.
Yeah, Murph, it was cool seeing you, buddy.
No, and I agree. I think that was something that I was excited about that people mentioned after I competed was not only the performance part and the intensity, the choreography. Because that's something you don't see really at all anymore. Nope. And then, of course, his kicks. So it was cool, man. It was fun for me to get out there and compete again. I tell you, I'm still beat up though. I'm sore and worn out. But that is something as well. I think with music, I would love to see more choreography. People hitting beats, like a lot of beats, kicking, of course, with beats, you know. But
Dude,
yeah,
Jeff Doss is the people's champ. So I felt like I was amongst celebrities when I was just kind of hanging around you, because you'd like finish your form and like people would like, not a mob, but it would be like a steady roll. People would just keep coming and coming and coming and like, oh man, I want my kids to do form just like you, man. I want my guys to kick just like you. And everybody keeps coming up and coming. It was like, no freaking kidding. You're the people's champ. You're the people's representative. We love you. Well, I'm saying, man. Now, before I get too far,
yeah,
because if you weren't in the building, you wouldn't really get what it was like in the finals.
mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish I got to hear the finals broadcast with Jackson and Mallory.
Yeah, right.
And for two reasons. One, I heard nothing but great things, and they're always great on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And Mike Chat was absolutely atrocious. 100%. Listen, I don't really make status updates on Facebook, and I probably quintupled the amount that I've done in the past 5 years that weekend.
But
and
when we're at a tournament, we tend to, we tend to do it.
I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
If you don't, he's well spoken, and he has a nice sounding voice.
Right.
And he's been around. Has a nice sounding voice. He's well spoken, and he's been around, and he's pretty knowledgeable about what's going on, even though he's not in it every day.
Right.
However, if you not have anything interesting to say besides he does stunts and Cobra Kai, maybe stop talking.
Well, there was a lot of reading issues.
How many times do you think we heard Cobra Kai?
Right. There was a lot of reading issues as well. Like I think he listed like the first 3 people for a division as all the same name, I believe, on one of them. There are some things like that. There was stuff, like the very first division, it was like waiting, like we know who won. What are we waiting for? Things like that.
Yeah.
Now I know that he's probably waiting. Someone's telling him. So I don't know. Listen, we're not there. So we're not in that spot. But yeah, I don't know. I just know it was cool to there was a lot of people from Cobra Kai there did it. I know for me, was really cool. I didn't know he was there, and I didn't even know what he was doing anymore. But Don Lee, who is the new choreographer for this past season, he is the NBL champion from the early '90s. He was on Karate International, and so it was cool to catch up with him and Edgar and him. They used to hang out when they were kids, and it was really cool to see him and back in the sport, and was fun just to kind of talk about all that, But yeah, if you guys don't know who he is, he was an amazing traditional weapons competitor back in the day. One of the first people ever to beat Bernadette Ambrosia in traditional weapons back in the day. So
saying a lot,
really cool. Yeah.
This is another reason why it's cool to hang out with Jeff Doss. I didn't know him.
Yeah.
Right. So we're sitting there and watching. You're like, dude, man, that's Donald Lee. And I'm like, who the hell is that? Right. And you just dropped all that same knowledge plus a bunch more. And I'm hanging out like, wow, man, that's really cool. And then later on, I get to meet him because he's hanging around with you. And I'm like, oh, man, look at I'm hanging around the mini celebrity. Right. And then here he is. We're introducing ourselves to each other. And I was like, wow, this is cool. All right. I'm with my peoples.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun, man. One thing, like, they got to do, AKA's got to do better is make sure the bar or the restaurant is open after 11. I mean, geez. Or let the finals in earlier, because that would be good too.
Yeah. I don't listen, because I get the Warrior Cup is a special thing. And I don't want to change the fact that, all right, now this winner has to go against this winner to get this special trophy because it is a special trophy.
Yeah.
But when we've already watched that form in the nighttime finals, why are we doing it again?
Well, and the thing is too, so imagine too, like, let's just look at Mason Bumba in that case, right? He did his harder form.
Weekend.
He did his harder form with more of the harder tricks in his first division, and then kind of took him out in the later one. It wasn't as good because he didn't have as much. Like it was just different. So, I mean, he played it smart. He was awesome all weekend. Him and Ben Jones just were insane this weekend. I mean, that's who I mean, as well as those were ones that really, Shaquan, man, still is killing it.
Got the awe.
Yep, he's still there.
It's not the height and the tricks. It's how the heck does he put boulders on the sides of his arms for shoulders?
That too, man. It's crazy.
Who does that?
There was so much. There's so much to talk about. With these guys, there was so much going on with the tournament that was even behind the scenes that we can't even get all of it. The sparring. I mean, again, we got to talk about D Stacks, just how this kid is just. I mean,
I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's go there now. Let's go there now.
I know you have a point on that one
for a minute, maybe 8. Okay, so for the women's, let's talk about the women. I liked watching the women. I mentioned that I centered the 2 lighter weight women. I don't know what their names are anymore. The only thing I know is that the heaviest one is called middleweight, which is an oxymoron. Middle means in the middle, not heavy, or highest, whatever. So anyway, so I judged the middle 2 or the lightest 2. I know that Katana won the 3rd out of the 4, and then Katana basically just took over.
Yeah.
I will say of the lighter 2 women's divisions, a lot of them look like the same fighter. All right.
Okay.
They're not the exact same. They're very skilled, and they're exciting to watch. But a lot of them look like the same fighter. So the difference maker, who was different than everybody else, was Katana, and Katana walked away with everything.
She was just dominant and amazing, super impressive. One thing though was Cassandra, her first event as an adult, beating Yemena, in the division, right?
She did.
And so that was a big one. Murphy, I thought, Peyton did awesome. Had a great won her division, Peyton Fender, and then won the grand.
Oh, I got it wrong then. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I think he's talking about she won the.
She won the 3rd division. It was Katana that won the 2nd.
Yeah. But Murphy made a great point during it, and you and I were sitting there, and it kind of got a little heated for a little bit. But and I don't really ever understand it too much. I've made this a point since 2 years ago, was why would the runner-up of open weight get to go in the finals when they didn't win a division at all, especially if they didn't win a division. So I get it. The rules are the rules though. So, because Katana won like everything. She won the overall women's, she won the open weight, and then she, so she had those 2 spots taken. So the runner-up was Yemena. Peyton though won her division and won the grand, and then lost to Katana. And then Katana's mom, Dee, won the senior women, the 30-plus women. So, again, I don't know. I mean, I think
listen,
for me, if it came to something like that, see, that's where I just think it should have been the lightweight and the middleweight get a spot, and then the open weight and the other get a spot, and then the 30-plus get a spot. But I don't know.
Right. And it didn't make any sense really for the women, because you didn't even have all 4 of them on the stage.
They just went
You
to the
only
final 2.
you
Yeah.
only had the final 2. So
Yeah.
if you only had the final 2, why are we doing this charade? Right? It doesn't make
Right.
any sense, right? It made a tiny bit of sense for the men because, all right, we want a full bracket of 4 guys going to the finals.
Right.
Doesn't make it right, right?
Right.
So now they did have a legit bracket because Darren Payne won the open weight, Cam Dawson won the heavyweight, Tyson Ray won the lightweight, and
Right.
Obeda Benwali won the 30 plus.
Yeah.
Nobody won multiples. However, Cam removed himself. All right.
Well,
I'll get into that later. All right.
Yeah.
Let's also.
We don't have much later. We have about 4 minutes. So.
I know. So it feels funny knowing that, like, all right, last year, Darren was like, he was the middleweight guy. Like, it was like, all right, well, who is there in the middleweight? It starts and ends with Darren Payne. Darren Payne lost his first fight in his division.
Yeah.
So you go, oh, but he's the guy in the end. It's weird to say. I do feel, and I'm not taking anything away from Darren, because Darren fought Cam Dawson in the end, and Darren was the winner.
And he also, he won a division of 50. He won a division of 54 people too. So.
Right. Darren fought and he won. That's it. You're the champion. My question is, why are we doing that though? Right?
Yeah, like I feel like open weight should be its own thing. We've talked about this
before. Own thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So if you're not there, I'm gonna explain this. So there was some KOs that maybe weren't KOs. The medics, like if you were a fighter and you got flash knocked out and you wanted to keep fighting, oh, these were your medics. Right? Yeah. So I had a guy who was with me, who was one of my guys, and he's fighting Anthony Merrickx, and it was just a fluke. And he gets hit like on the chin, like it wasn't even solid. It was like on the slide, but his head snapped so fast. And when he went down, he went stiff. And he couldn't even really go down because his arms were so stiff, they were holding him up. And I'm like, I froze for a minute to get to him. And the medics were like, yep, looks good. And all the refs were like, what? Are you out of your mind? Right? Are you out of your mind? So he obviously he did not continue, right?
Okay.
Even though they were like, yep, he's good to go. And I'm like, yeah, no, he's not. All right. So Zach Winder, we haven't seen in a while, came back. Right. And he was every bit of Zach Winder. He was the best kicker in the tournament. Wow, did that guy look good? His leg was.
He did look good.
Yeah. So, he's fighting, and I believe it was Romani Alisea, right? And takes a shot, right?
Yeah.
He's beating Romani, takes a hard shot, right? And is not right. So, but he's winning. The refs say he can keep fighting, and he just wins, right? Mm-hmm. So now he's fast forwards. He goes into the next round, and who's he got to fight but Cam Dawson?
Cam, yep.
Now he's fighting Cam Dawson. Cam hits him once, and he's like, this guy should not be fighting. If y'all aren't going to like stop this from happening, I'm just going to bow out. I'll stop this from happening, all right?
Right.
What a stand-up dude.
Right.
All right? He removed himself from the opportunity of winning money, right? Because there's money on that, right? For the health and safety of somebody. I believe he probably would have done that for even somebody who wasn't his teammate.
Yeah.
Maybe not just anybody. All right. But he did. And I made a post because, I made one. I made a couple.
Right.
But I said, Cam Dawson is the most respectful superstar fighter that there is today. All right.
Yeah.
I was centering him. He's fighting guys, telling them like, "Hey, it's a good job, man. You're doing all right. All right, don't worry about it. Calm down. You're doing okay. You're doing okay." Because he knew someone was like clearly outclassed, and he's just like he's coaching him as he's going.
Yeah.
Right. At one point, someone like he got a BS call. I didn't call for him, and he turns to me. He's like, "Don't give me that." And I'm like, "Man, I know. What am I supposed to do though? All right. What am I supposed to do?" And he's like, I didn't score that. And I go, Cam, I know. But what am I supposed to do? I can't. They gave it to you.
Yeah, so I
don't know
have
what
to
do,
give it.
man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. All right.
yeah.
We literally had to have this conversation. He would have preferred to not get the point. That's some integrity right there. I like that,
Yeah.
dude. I like that a
Right.
lot. Even though he said
Right.
I effing suck.
All right, a couple things, then we end. So I want to give a big congratulations to one of our fellow main gangers, Angel Diaz, for winning his first national tournament, first place, and having an awesome fight with James Poor as well in the grands. I mean, it was really cool to see him win, and then how just emotional and pumped up he was, because he's put in some work, man. So awesome job to Angel Diaz. Overall, guys, I think it was a great event. I had fun. Was really cool seeing so many different people I hadn't seen in years. One thing I want to say though, it still didn't feel like a Chicago tournament to me. Like I didn't see Larry Tankson and those guys. I didn't see some of the Chicago people there. So that was kind of weird to me. Also, happy birthday to Carlos Tierney, another main ganger.
Oh
Today is his
yeah.
birthday.
What up,
So,
Los?
happy birthday, Los. Anything else you want to
Talk
end
about
on?
another guy who doesn't
We got to
age.
go. What did you say?
Said talk about another guy who doesn't age.
That's right. All right, we ready?
Before we go, I'm gonna tell you this
All right.
because we're gonna do some more of these fantasy sport karate matchups.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I stressed myself out. Of all the people in the league, I scored the least amount of points.
Yeah.
And I made the most moves. I'm all over the place.
And a lot of them didn't make any sense, but
none of them made sense, Jeff.
No, they
none
didn't
of them
make
made sense. I tried. Hey,
Oh
it
man.
wasn't for a lack of trying. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But yo,
Thank you
we gotta
guys for
go.
watching.
Stay tuned next week, we're gonna have Chad Cannon and Carmichael Simon on from Censor Sports when we had the Censor Sports Strike League Grand Prix. It's going to be an exciting one. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.